All right, hey guys, Sam back with you here. We're midday, January 26th on a Friday. Next up, our winner today was a look at Stellar Lumen, XLM to Bitcoin. I've got it up here on the 4-hour chart. Before we get to that, just to review here. So here you know, major crypto, market cap's 11 billion. You know, very strong development interest here. Easy to do research on this project. This is a major player. This is not going anywhere. So this is our spread here. So you know, fairly decent spread here. Of course, the bulk of it traded against Bitcoin, and the two top exchanges here. We see our Binance, Bittrex, Polos in there as well. Request from members was to look at it on Bittrex. So I've got this up here, and here's my work over here. I just wanted to give you some perspective on where we've been and where we are right now. It's never a bad idea to wick off some prior resistance because that has a funny way of sneaking back in at times. But that done, if I get that right on there, that done. Now let's look here. So operate. Now we've done this coin before, and I'm just kind of short review here. We had this kind of very choppy leading diagonal that got in. It wasn't the prettiest thing, but it certainly played technically. There's our one wave, and boy, a mighty sharp second. So here we sit now. Now I'm going to take this. So working on the assumption that we have a leading diagonal into a one wave. Here's our 2, monster 3. Here's our 618 and our 50 and our 618, where we're given that range. That doesn't surprise me that we retrace that much, given how far that went. So where are we? Are we approaching a top? And if we are approaching a top, you know, are we just putting in a one wave of a larger degree? Certainly, you know, has that potential that we'd be completing this 1, 2, 3, 4, and somewhere up here is going to be a fifth that we're going to. I should change that degree so I don't confuse it. Somewhere up here is going to be a fifth that's likely going to complete up here. And then we're going to retrace from the entire move, low to high, looking for our second. So as we dial in here now, let's go down to the 1 hour. Let's see what we can see. Okay, so here's our 3 is in. We get the A wave, B wave. We come down to the C. Now the C doesn't quite make the golden pocket, but interestingly, you always want to check these, looking for confluence. If I work from my A, the range of my A, and project it from the height of my B, you see we get the 618 almost to the tick, right? I mean, right bang. That's so. What you're seeing there is the 61.8% of the A, the length of the A, projected from the B, which gives us more confidence and confluence here in this as a good pivot to work with. And indeed, from that pivot, we move off of it with an impulsive wave. You can see. Well, let me open it up. Maybe you can see it. You can see we get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a one wave. Here's our 2, so just right as you would expect it, right? So if you're thinking, okay, 4's in, I'm looking for a 1, 2. Well, there's my one wave. Here's my 2 wave. We go right to the 50. Now here's the first target. Algo target. Now algo target relative to that pull. So here's the first target. We get the negative 23, and we've just now come up and come close to the negative 618. Have the negative 100 up here, but remember that will often be very close to what you'd anticipate if we now. I'm going to leave them up there just to make the point. So these are the algo targets. You can see you already had a reaction here. Algos took profit, those that bought it here. But now if we're trying to think from an Elliott wave perspective, then we're taking the length of 1 and we're projecting it from our low here of 2, and we get this pocket up here. So here's our high probability zone, that 1618 to 175 window, very close to the negative 100 as it often is. So that degree is wrong. Let me bring that down. Actually, so what I've got to take this up a degree to make this make sense. So let's go to there we go. Okay, now that works. Okay, so we have 1, 2. We have a target up here for a 3. Now, just because we have a target doesn't mean it's going to get there, but we have a reasonable target, and we can look here and say potentially here now we're putting in a third wave here, but whether or not we've got the legs to get it all the way up here or not, remains to be seen. But we can see that there is definitely some technical trading in here, and we have some clean Elliott counts. So knowing that this is up here, Right, so that's why I like to do these hot boxes. So once I've got that marked up here, you know, I know my 100's here. So relative to where we are here, now we've already cleared 100% of the length of the 1 projected from the 2. Here's my 100%. We've gotten just past that. So confidence now that I'm in the midst of putting in a third wave. So I'm going to take this off, knowing that that's accomplished and I have my target up here. So I'm going to dial in here and see what's going on within this third wave. So if here's my 1, here's my 2. So just in the interest of decluttering the chart, let me take that off so we can start dialing in on what we get here. So here's that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a 1. So it makes sense to wick off the 1 wave. All right, that's important to us here. I can take this one off. Less important here now because we're in an impulsive wave, right? So this 1, 2, we've gone 100%. So what we're looking for is to confirm that we can get a clean 5-wave structure in the third wave. In the third wave here, we need that to be impulsive. So can we see that? Well, we start here. We get a 1, 2. Now this 1 is important because I need this to stay impulsive. Here's my 3. Now why do I think that's my 3? Well, same reason I would think anything's a 3. I'm going to measure the length of the 1 projected from the low of the 2. And here's my, just as I did up above, here's my 1618, 175 window. Right? And you can, I'll do it again. You can see here, if I put that in conjunction with the length of the 1 to the retracement. Do you see? So here's my here's the 1, 2 coming down to the 618. You see that? Here's the 618. Here's the negative 100. So if I wiggle, well, that's the wrong one. Here's the negative 100. You can see that my point I'm trying to make is the negative 100 will be very close to the 1618. It's literally right on top of it. So if I wiggle that, do you see that? So if I lock that in on the 1, here's, see the red line going in? That's the negative 100, very much aligned with the 1618, 175, just as it was above when I drew it up here. So that gives me more confidence, not certainty, but confidence that this is likely my third wave relative to this 1, 2. Okay, so having marked that, now I can pull some of that off. Okay, so I'm confident. Now here's a 4. Now that 4 is pretty sharp. So here, question, do I have an A, B, C, or am I putting in a 1, 2? Well, I'd have to go down to a smaller time frame to get clarity on that. So I'm going to go to the 15-minute and take a look at what I can see here. So here I can clearly get an A, B, C into my 4. So I want to check that relative to the length from my 2, as I was just showing you. So if that's my 3, here's my 4, right to the 50. Couple of ticks in front of it, they front run it. I get an A, B, C into my 4. I don't overlap the 1, so I've got an impulsive wave on my hands, and then I start again. Then after the A, B, C, I get a 1, 2. Right, so you see what we've done? Here's the 2. We get a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right? See, it's beautiful how it works that way. So we get that, so it gives us some sense of where we are. Where are we? Okay, well, here my 4's in, so I'm expecting 5 waves in my 5th. Well, I get a 1, 2 yet again. Now, note what happens here. I'm going to mark off my wave 1 high here, overlap. Wait a minute. I thought I had to have an impulse wave. Well, I can have an overlap here in the 5th, because note now, here's the 4. I'm in the 5th wave. 5th wave, I can have a diagonal. I'm looking at an ending diagonal. Ending diagonal, only found in a 5th wave or a C wave. So far, no rules have been violated from an Elliott wave perspective. Get this right on there. And all we've done here from this 50, we've hit the algo target. And look at the reaction. So we know algos are in. This has been extremely technical the whole way. So from this pivot here, here's the 50, algos buy it, they take it to target, reaction. Okay, so given the depth of this, now I have to change my pull. So given that I'm now in a diagonal, I'm now going to pull from the low, from the absolute low here of my 4, and I'm going to include the length of the 1 all the way to the length of the 3. And where do I go? Right? Do you see it? Right into the golden pocket, right here. Right? Algos, algos, algos. So the algos buy it, and we'll look at the reaction. Okay, so where's that target? Right up here. So let me see if I can find my 5 up here. There it is. So I've got this 5th up here, first algo target, but I've got upper targets as well. Nothing says we stop there. Although, you know, can we get another 5? And look what's happening here. So if I open this up, look how technical this is. This is amazing. So here, so we get a 1, 2. Well, it looks like we double top here. So it looks like we get a 1. So I get a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be from my low here, right, in the golden pocket, 1, pardon me, 2. We're trying to put in a 3, 4, 5. So if that's my 1, then I get an A, B, C. And it looks like I've got yet another 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe. Let's change the colors here so we can make some sense of this. Let's go down. We'll go all the way down here. Okay, and this is wrong degree. So let's go to we'll go to white, and we'll go to subminuet. Okay, so do you see what's happening here? So here's the 3, here's the 4, right into the golden pocket, perfect pivot. So algos everywhere. So they take this one to target, down, algos buy it again at the 618. Now, can they get to target? Well, no reason to suspect that they can't until they don't. Well, look what's happening here. Do we have a 3, 4, 5 going in to complete the 3? This is just great subdivision. So 1, 2 yet again after the 1, 2. So we had 1, 2, 1, 2. Here's the 3, 4. Now we get 1, 2 again. Now here's another 1, 2. I mean, can't get any better than that. I mean, this is just Elliott 101. It's just, it couldn't be like, it's following it as I'm recording this with just perfect wave relationships. Do you see how we've got waves within waves within waves, all back here? All, I got to go out even further. Do you see how that's all coming together? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Amazing. It's hard to believe, really, how it consistently it does that. Well, there you go. You can't argue with it, right? How do you argue with that? You tell me that's random? No, sorry. I'm not buying it. That's not random. I promise you it's not random. You can't make that argument. Happens way too often. So we're 1, 2, we're going up for the 3. So what are we looking for there? Well, we're now projecting a couple of things. So knowing I'm in a diagonal here with this algo target, I'm also going to look at it from an Elliott wave relationship. So in a diagonal, just as I'm looking for the retracement relative to the length of the start of it, the low of the 1 to the high of the 3, I'm going to project the length of the 1 through 3 from the 4. And I'm looking for, here's a common target, the 618 of this length for the 5th. We could be approaching this. My expectation would go a little higher. Another common target up here is 100% the length of the range from the low of the 1 to the high of the 3 projected from the 4. So I've got kind of a big fat box up here. Now remember, I'm down on a 15-minute. All right, so I've got that contender here, and then often you'll see in a diagonal, we'll get, you know, this kind of price action. In this case, we may have an expanding diagonal. I would work from these pivots here, looking for that kind of thing. So potentially, we're coming up here to try and put in. So see what we're trying to do here. So let me get this off of here. So can we get a 3, 4, and then this 5 would have to go up here. So can we get a 3, 4, 5 into a 3? That 5 would be up there. I got to take that up a degree. So it makes sense. It's always good to try and go up a degree so you don't get lost in your count. So I've got 1, 2, and then within my third, I'm trying to, so that within that third, be interesting to see if the 1 holds. So I've got 1, 2, see if we can get a 3, 4, 5 in here to put in, go into our probability zone here. Now that's a probability zone for a top. For the 5th, maybe we go higher. So if I get up here with a 5-wave subdivision, that would imply that I've got a third. I've got a third that I'm not topping, that I have the potential to put in a 4, 5. So it might look like this. Let me put the wave on that so it makes more sense. If I do it like that, you see what we're trying to do here? So here's the 1, 2. Well, let's put the wave on so you can see it. I know this is hard to follow. Okay, so let me get that so you can see wave within wave. Yeah. Come here. Okay, do you see what's happening there? Wave finishing a wave. So here's the, and then I've got this wave. So if I start to put this all together, you can see waves within waves within waves. you see that 3, 4? I'll change that color. So do you see what's happening there? I'm trying to get that. So let's go to I'll go to blue on that. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Within my fifth, I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe fifth up here. Right? Do you see that? And then within that fifth, I'm getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe. Waves within waves within waves. And I can see in here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the third. I mean, it couldn't be any more technical. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean we must continue this way. This is a roadmap that we can trade, so you trade it until it fails, because there's absolutely nothing that guarantees that this continues. We could easily just roll over and we head down here. I mean, there's no guarantee, but right now there's no reason to assume it won't continue, considering how technical it's been along the way. No reason. Right? Algos are in; they're buying it. You know, they're going to put that's their target right there, off of this. You see how it lines up here from the length of my pivot, my low here, this pivot to the high. Their target is sitting right here. Well, they're on their way. But, you know, again, as I often try and tell you, all we're trying to do is kind of weave in and around behind them, so we can just kind of surf in their wake. Can we get there? We shall see. But it certainly is technical. Certainly is interesting to see how beautifully that's played. Waves within waves within waves. So if we pull that all the way back out and then think about, wait a minute, that's a lot of detail. Where are we coming from? We're still just within the larger fifth wave. Right up here. Can we get up there? Here's the median line. That's going to be a magnet. So 3, 4, trying to get up and put in a 5 up here. All this subdivision, you know, you don't have to do it, but I think I'm trying to make the case that it can be really, really advantageous to you, as you try and manage the risk. You can it's certainly helpful, but you could, you know, you don't have to use it. I mean, you could. It's just out of curiosity. I can work from this over to my low here. That's kind of interesting. I'm going to get some confluence up here off of this 1, 2. I'm here. Yeah, there. Can I get? You know, is this going to come into play? Maybe that's already, now we're too far outside of it, and we'd have to go to a modifier. So if I go to the shift, does that do anything for me? Maybe we caught it here, so you'd have to add. So we'd add the 2. Maybe the 3 as well. Looking for some of those upper parallels to offer some geometry. This is kind of an interesting channel that we're getting here. So, you know, potential targets up above based off of all of that geometry. That would surprise me if we don't get here. We might not. We got a ways to go. Interesting. Okay, so there's a pretty good detailed look at, you know, now you look at that and you go, well, God, what a complete hot mess that is. Well, you can't work with that. You got to go back down here. Right, and try and get a handle on it. Do you want to go that granular? Granular? That's how I want to say that. Granular? It's up to you. Trader's choice. You know, certainly adds value if you want to use it. Okay, guys, I'll wrap it there.